Hi there, Christoph here with the latest Arké update, and this one I am looking at Sérvér Séléction because Ark is based on servers. It's not a P2P network like the Bitcoin network. We just kind of throw things out into the cloud. Even with Lightning, you kind of have to check open channels with other people, and you probably might need an LSP. And in Ark, when you create your wallet, you have to choose a server that you're going to connect to, that you're going to facilitate all these transactions, right? And they have various differences. They might charge different fees. So because fees are such an important thing as a user, I kind of want to know what I'm getting myself into. So this is the first iteration, and it's quite complex maybe, but I'll just go through it and then deal with the complexity. So let's say I'm creating my new wallet, and then it asks me, well, how to use Bitcoin? And we will use this in the next step to optimize your expected fees. Okay, kind of makes sense. That seems like a good incentive. So okay, average balance 100,000. Maybe I'm just going to keep like 200,000 on there. Transactions per month. Well, I'm going to do 25, and I don't know. My transactions are maybe worth 230,000. Okay. If I don't want to deal with these kind of three sliders here, I can also say, well, you know, I'm more of a spender, or I'm more of a saver. Like a saver, they have a huge balance and they make very few transactions. A spender might be a person who maybe they make one big deposit a month and then they just kind of spend it as they go. And a casual person, they just kind of occasionally open it up, right? And we have too many people being casuals, right? We need more spenders. Anyway, so I'm just going to pick this one here. Then, okay, select server, all right, what does that mean? So they route payments for safe and fast transactions, okay, that makes sense. And fees are based on usage, and that's kind of what I'm here for. So I see three servers, Quinto, Second, and Bodega. Second is selected. And I can tell, okay, Quinto, this would be I would be fine roughly 515 sats per month on fees. Or for Second, it would cost me 1,100, and Bodega, it would cost me a bit more. You know, 0.1% per transaction would be my fee, so that sounds pretty good. And that seems to be the best one. Let's switch over to Saver. Okay, when I'm saving, Quinto is still the best one, and Second actually drops. And for casual usage, it's kind of the same setup here, but of course the fees change because my usage changes, right? But let's look at the spending here. If I want to go back and look at the usage pattern, you know, we kind of see average balance, those values that we looked at earlier that I should already be familiar with, but I can pull them up again. And then I can expand also to learn about this fee calculation. So in here, you can see, okay, there are 10 direct payments, which then end up with a fee of 0. Lightning payments, there are 15 of them. That adds up to a fee of 150. And then we have these refreshes. There are 2 of them, ending up for the majority of the fee. And then we have these stats from the server. They charge an annual rate of 3%. I think that's basically the refreshes. A refresh meet every 30 days, and they have these are the Lightning fees. And you know, this is really where the intricacy of all of this comes from. All this fee stuff is not totally nailed down yet, but there are different models. Like this one here offers a free refresh window. So typically you have refreshes cost the server, and usually that's split between users. But maybe this server allows for free refreshes if you do them within 7 days of expiry, but then charge a higher Lightning fees. And maybe they refresh only every 45 days or so, but they have a lower rate, right? So there are different models here. And maybe some of the hardcore people, the people who really want to do the math, they can look into this, but they don't really have to, right? The main thing is here that we present some servers and we simply say that, okay, this is what you expect, this is what you think you're going to do, this is roughly what you're gonna pay. And then I think everyone can understand that the reality of how it pans out really depends on the actual behavior. But that's kind of how the way that I managed to where I'm currently at with this. I'm very sure it needs to be iterated. Other things here is, you know, we can link out to those websites, and they have logos. So I think obviously this should be super decentralized. People should also be able to pick their own server or pick another server that's in here. But I also think that it is kind of responsibility of the application to present 3 very good options for the default, kind of as a default, and maybe they should rotate over time to kind of push for decentralizations. Maybe some servers also stop accepting more users or liquidity or whatnot. Maybe they have limits, and then maybe these rotate out. But I don't think that this kind of custom, just type in a URL should kind of be the default. I do think we need to guide people here a little bit. So that's kind of where I'm thinking. Okay, there are 2 steps. First, think about how much you expect to use this application, and then we'll show you some options here, how the fees will pan out. And despite the difficulty, the complexity of the different types of fee models, I do think we can simplify this to just say like, well, you're going to pay these are the sats per month you're likely going to pay, and it's going to be X% per transaction, and just kind of simplify that. And I do think these models are not too different from things that we maybe know from mobile data plans. Not sure if there are how other things work, like electricity. I'm sure there are other utilities and other services where that also present things similarly or have similar complexities. And then, of course, once you select it, it connects to it. That's the server that stays with you. And then that information should also remain visible throughout the application. And I haven't built any of that yet. And I do also think that the application then should track how your actual fee usage over time. And then maybe you can start, maybe you can see how your actual usage pans out. So a lot of complexity. I am curious to hear what you think of this. I really think this needs a lot of refinement, and especially once this thing goes on mainnet and we see actual behavior, what models the different servers choose and how that then reflects in actual fees based on actual usage. So that's my first step. Hopefully it's a good one. You let me know. Thanks.